Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's hard not to laugh when we do that. Welcome back to another episode of A Dancer's Mindset with not just me today, but we have the wonderful, the only Suvi Honkanen. Hello, Suvi.
Hello. This is making me laugh because we literally did this just a minute ago, but
Don't tell them, Suvi. Don't tell them.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yes, we have just done this intro, but I realized I was not recording, so we've done it again. Thank you so much for joining us, Suvi. You are a busy lady, so we appreciate it. We love having you on the podcast, and it's so nice for me because you were literally my best friend at Vaganova, and so it's so nice we're like in touch regularly now, just talking about lots of different things. I mean, I really love it.
It's always a pleasure to
Thank you.
have a chat with you.
Yeah, we spend our coffee morning time together.
Yes.
Every month now. So today we're going to be talking about returning to dance after a break. So that can come in many forms. It can be returning to dance after a school break, returning after an injury, which I know we've both experienced a lot, and or returning to dance after a bit of a life break, like maybe you were dancing when you were younger and now you're returning back to it later on in life. You know, life happens and you haven't lost the passion for ballet, but you don't even know where to start, this kind of thing. And it's hard because you used to do it and you don't feel as good as you once were, and maybe you can't do the things you used to be able to do initially. But first of all, let's start with coming back to dance from an injury, because we've both experienced this in heavy forms.
Yes.
And first of all, let's start with you, Suvi. Tell us, what was your worst injury and how did you approach coming back from it?
My worst injury, well, I have actually two that I can't really decide which one was worse. My hip surgery, and then
What was your hips? What was your hip surgery?
I had a hip surgery in spring of 2018. I don't know if I'll be able to explain this in English very well because I did it in Finland, so all the terms are in Finnish in my head. But basically, I had a rupture, I think it's called, in the like the cartilage around the hip socket.
So you did you tear your cartilage? So did you tear your labrum?
Yes, labrum.
So the same as me.
Yeah. So it was just like
Yeah.
smooth down, and then also at the same time, there's a ligament called teres in your hip, which connects.
Oh yes, ligamentum teres. I know.
Yes.
And that's well, often those two.
Go
Did
together.
your surgeon tell you often those two things come together? Like
Yes.
if you've torn your ligament, you've definitely, like if you've torn the cartilage, you've torn the ligament, and vice versa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my ligament was not salvageable anymore, so
Oh God.
they just removed the whole thing. So I just don't have the ligament
Whoa.
anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that, Suvi.
I don't have a ligament connected.
I don't have a ligament.
I don't have a ligament. It's
My leg is
not a big
barely
one.
attached.
Yeah, it connects from your femur to your hip socket, or I don't know
Yeah.
what it runs in English, but
So out of interest, like I'm going off topic now just because
yeah,
I'm fascinated, because obviously my ligament was repaired.
yeah.
How does that feel in your body?
It felt very different, and it when I came back from the injury, obviously everything feels different after a surgery and after a break. But still to this day, it feels like something's just off in my hip. It just feels
Yeah.
as though I can't quite find that like sweet spot where you
Balance.
feel like and when you feel like you're on top of your leg, and you feel this somehow this like connection going from your toes and heels to all the way here to the top of your head, something in between is just missing. I feel like I just can't really, because
Well,
I
it
know,
is. Your
yeah,
ligament's
there
gone.
is something missing, but
No, I get it.
yeah, because we feel our body so intensely as dancers, I think.
No, I know. We're so sensitive. We know exactly
Yeah,
when our little toe is slightly out of whack.
yeah. So it just feels like I can't really get my hip in, or my pelvis in the kind of the correct spot. I
We
guess.
should okay, listen, we should definitely talk about this, just you and me, because I can, help with this.
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll talk about this later
Later,
because
yeah.
anything to do with hips, I have a lot to say to
Yes,
help.
I'm really
Um,
left.
anyone's out there who needs hip advice. um,
Easy is the
so
one.
obviously, this is would say this was your worst injury. I mean, I'd probably say the same for me because it was actually one I had an operation for.
Yeah.
Um, so how did you approach, and when was this happening in your life?
So, my hip pain started in 2016. Like it started intensifying, and then it was the winter of 2018 when I was really like, oh no, like this is really bad. I can't really um, dance anymore. I can't really walk anymore without pain. Started taking a lot of painkillers and a
Mm,
lot of like muscle relaxants because all the muscles around that, my pelvis were just so tight because I was, you're clenching your muscles and trying to protect or trying to uh, do things that make the pain feel less intense. So I did that for like maybe 4 months, and I started having really bad stomach problems because I was taking really unhealthy amounts of painkiller for many months. Don't do that.
yeah, I mean that's not
Um,
good.
nah, that was really bad. So
Don't
yeah, it
do
was
that, guys. Don't
spring.
do that.
I think I had it on May of 2018 was my surgery, and then I came back um, around September 2018. So quite fast.
Okay, well, yeah, that is quite fast. See, I
Mm,
really took my time
mm,
coming back from that, because it was like enough was enough. I just wanted to
mm,
be healthy again and fix it properly. So I think I took maybe like a year to come back from that, but
yeah.
I just wanted to like retrain my hip and everything. And going back to the topic of just like coming back to
Mm,
dance and the anxieties that come with it. So throughout my rehab, I obviously it was at a I had to return and audition for Stadt Ballet Berlin
mm,
because Nacho was going there. So I was thinking of going there. Um, and so I had a goal in mind, and I
yeah.
think the goal side of things did really help me keep going because I knew that there was something like a good opportunity
Mm-hmm.
on the horizon for me beyond this surgery or this injury because when you have an injury you can sort of feel like, oh, this is the end of time,
Yeah.
like this is overwhelming. um and so for me, having that goal really helped me push through and keep my focus and keep motivated and disciplined with the rehab.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what about you? So, what was happening at the time? You were Finnish national?
Yeah, I was at FMB, and it was
Mm.
the director actually just changed after that kind of season. So I think one of the reasons why I came back so fast was because I felt this pressure to, I wanted to, you know, start off on the right foot with the new director and show that I'm really motivated and I can come back fast. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I
Do you regret going back that fast,
yes,
or
in
was
a
it
way
fine?
I do, but also it was also like my physios or the physios at FMB were like, yeah, you can come back, you're fine. And I remember in
Mm.
September when I started doing bar. Yeah, sorry, I should specify. I didn't come back in September like I was doing class full out. I meant I came back to work as in I started coming to class in the mornings and doing rehearsals slowly and carefully. Um, so yeah, when I started doing, or when I put my feet in the first position for the first time after the surgery, this was probably sometime in August. I remember I said to the physio at FMB, I was like, this feels really bad. Like, this feels horrible. I have a lot of pain. And she was like, that's normal. You have to just go through it. You just have to start doing it. And I just remember crying and being like, I can't, like, this just feels like something's not right in my hip. and
Yeah.
and they just pushed me a lot, which I feel I don't feel bitter about it or anything, because that's, that doesn't benefit me in any way. But maybe I just I wish I would have listened to my body more, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine that more in a school scenario where like the
Mm,
physio's like, you're fine, like you don't know any better, you're only 13 or something,
yeah.
which already is annoying when you're that age because
Yeah.
you're like, I know something's
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. It's my
But like
body.
yeah, but that's
Yeah.
really difficult. Like that's really difficult if like you're in a company scenario, you're the physio
Yeah.
of the company is saying like you're fine. This is normal. You have to push through that pain. It will subside.
Yeah.
Did you feel like did you feel like you had to listen to that and like you had to do what they said, even though obviously you're an adult at this point?
Yeah. In a way, yes. In their defense, like you said, I was an adult. I could have said, "No, listen to me. I don't want to do this."
But you
But
felt pressure.
at the moment, I felt a lot of pressure, and also not just from the physios, but kind of I felt like in that company, I don't think it was with everyone, but I had had a couple of injuries, unfortunately. So I felt that there
Mm.
was this kind of like, oh, you're injured again type of energy I was getting from the repetitors, and that really somehow messed me up. Like I found it just very difficult to try to take my time, because I felt like I was in a hurry and I had to prove a point or something. So
Mm.
I was in a it was a very negative state when, you know when I was coming back from the injury, and
Mm.
um, that's probably why I also feel it was one of my worst injuries, or my worst injury, because of the process of coming back after such a intense thing.
Well, I can resonate with that with my back. Like
Yeah,
that was rushed coming
yeah,
back from when I fractured it because like we had the graduation exam and Sydney
yeah.
Kova was like calling me like every week, like, so you coming back next week, and I'd be like
Oh gosh.
I need another week, and then the pressure and stuff, and obviously I missed the nutcracker, I missed everything, and so when I went back it was very much like the girls, even though the girls were nice in our class, but it was very much like the girls were, because I'd left and a lot of
Mm.
them had done Masha and the Nutcracker.
Oh, who had done it?
um Arena, do you
Oh
remember
yeah,
Arena?
yeah,
Arena, and I think Ksenia Shevtsova, who's at the
mm.
Stanislavski now. But it was sort of like because I'd left, they had sort of taken a bit more of the spotlight, which obviously we shared a little bit of that, but like they took more of it.
Yeah,
So when I turned up, they looked at me as if like, oh, you're not like um number one anymore or something. Like
mm.
they looked at me a bit like, oh, you can't. It was a strange vibe for me when I got there. And so I felt even more pressure to, like you just said, like a
Mm.
bit more pressure to prove myself, as well as like obviously to Altenai and to Sydney
Mm.
Kova, because people decide things about you when you're injured. They
Yeah,
decide, oh, this is someone who gets injured, this is someone who can't handle the work or something.
yeah, yeah. She's weak,
So
or her body is
yeah,
weak, or yeah,
right. Yeah, and it's really tough, and it's like, well,
yeah.
that's not the case. Things happen,
Things do
and
happen. I don't think there's a single dancer on this planet who has not had at least one injury. Usually
if they I mean,
several.
and if yeah, and if they are, then I mean, if they are that person, then like lucky them. Like
Lucky
that's just
them. That's very
lucky,
rare.
very rare.
Yeah.
And so dealing with the pressure of coming back from an injury is a tough one, but because I had rehabbed, and I'm sure you had as well, I had rehabbed so well
Mm.
in the with the back injury, but it still wasn't long enough. So again, when I went back, I sprained that muscle,
Mm.
because the workload went from like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
So like coming back from a break, that's another thing to say,
Yeah.
is ideally you want to,
Take
and
it
obviously your
slowly.
medical professional, yeah, your medical professional will obviously advise this, but you have to build up
Yeah.
slowly.
Yes.
Like you can't expect to go from like, literally I went from just like rehab exercises, bit of bar, to then Vaganova bars.
which is intense.
Yeah, and I said to Sydney Cover, because obviously you have to speak to your teacher and have
Mm,
a communication with her,
mm,
and I said to her, I literally tried to explain the whole I need to build up 10% each week,
yeah.
and she was like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
What?
you can imagine her face.
You either dance or you don't. What are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, no, I can. I just need to, maybe I'll do more today and less tomorrow. And she was
Oh,
like, no. So she
oh
didn't get
gosh.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's difficult.
Yeah. It's definitely worth it to. It's better to take your time with an injury than to rush it. In all cases, I would say, like a few months. It's in the long term, in the long run, it's just not gonna like.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's easier said than done. I think
Yes, definitely,
it really depends on the environment you're in and
definitely.
how open those teachers are to actually looking after you
Yeah,
properly.
yeah,
you know, I think because in institutions such as the company and schools, like the teachers feel and the coaches feel like immense pressure, obviously, to put like good shows
yes,
on and good exams on. So that sort of care and attention for
yeah,
somebody who's just gone through something very huge
yeah,
does get a bit lost, I think. Hopefully it's a bit different now, but I doubt
yeah,
it.
yeah. One would hope. Um,
Mm.
but in general, I think in ballet school there should be a lot more emphasis on a kind of, um, I guess, for students from a very young age to trust what they feel about their body and to push rather towards that type of mentality that you really do know what's best for your body in a sense that when you feel pain, that means something. Because I feel like a lot of ballet dancers and students um, are pushed in that way, like the, that my opinion is my opinion about my body and what I'm feeling is not as valid as my teachers or my physios or whatever the director's opinion. So
Well, I think you just feel like you'll get cast aside. You just feel like I can't possibly be honest. They'll
yeah,
forget about me. They'll not
very
like me
sad.
anymore. They won't give me opportunity. So you feel
Mm.
feel compelled to hide how you actually are feeling,
Yeah, it's very
right? Which
unfortunate.
isn't nice. Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
mm. Now in terms of like how you actually came back, like what was your
Mm,
strategy? So obviously we're dealing with the situation around us and the teachers and the coaches and just dealing with them slightly looking down on you a little bit or being a bit strange with you. I think to a certain degree you just have to slightly ignore that and just try to
mm,
focus on yourself and just coming back, because obviously everything ends, like
mm,
this period will end and then they'll forget about it. um but it's difficult in the moment. But
mm,
how did you actually, because obviously with the hip that was different
mm,
for me because of what
mm,
happened with the back, how I
mm,
went back so quick. The hip was the opposite for me and I really slowed down and took my time,
mm,
and that's been perfectly fine ever since. But
mm,
in terms of how you approached coming back, like building up in class,
mm.
did you feel like you had to do extra exercises? Did you need more recovery time? How did you
Yeah.
cope?
Okay. Ideally, I would have started slow, focused on myself, not worried about, you know, dates of when I should be performing again or rehearsing again, and really taken every day, kind of like, how do I feel today? What does my hip need today? Can I push today or should I rest today? And I would have
Yeah,
eaten nutritious meals and nourished my body with all of the energy that it needs. And I would have done
that
all
sounds
of
great.
that, but I didn't do that.
Yeah, and why not, Suvi?
Because I
What
was
stopped you?
dumb. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh. No, I mean, the story with coming back from the hip surgery is just, it's just atrocious because, um, I mean, my career ended basically after that season. Um, It was the last season that I danced or attempted to dance. So I had a date when I should be performing and rehearsing again, and I was doing class, feeling a lot of pain, feeling like, oh, this just doesn't feel right. But I kept hearing, no, no, just push, and I felt this
Ugh.
pressure. And at the same time, I felt like I had gained weight when I was off. So I was trying to diet. I was doing a lot of biking and like extra exercises to basically burn calories. um,
Yeah.
because of the costumes in that production that was coming up, I was really stressed about that. And unfortunately, after I think maybe 2 months, so this would be around November, I started having really intense pain on my left foot, like the bottom of my foot. Um, so the same side that I had the hip injury, and
Mm.
I was like, I can't possibly be injured again. I just had to push through. And then January, I was like, I have to check this out. So I got an MRI, and I had a broken bone in my foot, and it had just completely like split. So there were two pieces of bone
Wow.
in my foot, and the other one had unfortunately gone to necrosis state, which means there's no blood flow in it anymore, which is just it's just a dead bone in there.
Wow.
And I was like, oh crap. And
And do you chalk that down to like do you talk put that down to the fact that you were like dieting, probably like your bone density was probably suffering, all these,
that for
your
sure, but
workload was too much?
also I really think it was because honestly something is and still is off in the alignment of my left side. So
Right.
the bone that
Because of the hip.
yeah, the bone that was broken
Mm.
was right below my kind of big toe. So just I
Yeah.
think the pressure, something was just not right in how I was standing on my left leg, because it didn't feel like I could um, find that spot where I'm like I'm good here
Mm.
on my leg.
Yeah. Mm.
Um, that's why I think that it became so
Yeah, I
bad.
mean it's 100%,
Yeah,
like it all, like
yeah,
I often think like if something's wrong lower down,
yeah. Something
there's often
usually,
some weakness higher up, like
yeah,
there's often something going on. Yeah.
yeah. That's often the case. So I
Mm.
tried for a few months to just ignore the pain, started taking painkillers again, started having the stomach problems again, and I was like, I am just doing the same thing all over again, aren't I? And then,
Yeah, I mean that. Mm.
yeah, I had thoughts for many years about um, stopping dancing at FMB. So that's the spring that I was like, you know what? I think this is the time.
I mean, this is the thing though. I mean, we've gone quite a lot into injuries on this episode, which
Yes, we
is
have. I guess
fine.
this is
But I
the
think,
injury episode.
I guess,
Whoops.
no, but I think at this point when when you're like experiencing a lot of pain, and I understand, like honestly, I resonate completely. Like you've just gone through a load of rehab. Oh, Siri had something to say. You've just he said, I'm still not sure. You've just gone through some serious injury, right? And then that's exhausting. Like it's so mentally draining, and you're dealing with so much pressure. And then you've just gone back, and then within like a couple of months or whatever, you're
Yeah,
hurting again, and that would push anyone to
yeah,
the edge.
yeah. Yeah, it's just the left side. I also, a couple years before that, broke three tendons on the left foot in the same side. So I just really felt like I mentally I had already been thinking about stopping for a while, and all these
Mm,
injuries were just kind of like, okay, my body is just
mm.
not happy at the moment. But it's
So
interesting that I'm dancing again now, because I thought
right,
that I
so
was
we'll lead
better.
into this in a sec.
Yeah.
But I think basically the sum up of this injury section of
Mm,
this episode is basically, as you can hear everyone, like from both our experiences, rushing back rushing back from an injury and a serious one, and not making sure completely that you feel stable and strong and healthy, and because ballet is hard enough as it is on a healthy body. So rushing back in after a serious injury when everything's imbalanced is for sure for sure way to lead into yet another injury
Yes.
and lead to depression,
Yeah.
upset, burnout, and
Yeah.
just calling it a day.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think coming back from an injury, you need to really just be very proactive and say to yourself, look, this isn't ideal. Obviously, people are going to have opinions about me, but I'm not about to jeopardize my entire career for an extra couple of months where I rehab. Like, it's
Exactly.
not worth it long
It's
term.
not. And
So take your
also,
time.
yeah, another really important thing is don't
Go.
don't um don't eat painkillers for many months in a row.
No.
Like
I'll be honest, when
you
I'll
just
be honest, when I was yeah, no,
before a
I'll
stomach
be
surgery as well, or a stomach operation as well. The
oh,
summer.
Suvi, for
Yeah.
goodness sake.
No, that's why I'm like, just don't do it.
No, I mean,
I'm not
yeah,
saying don't
I
take
mean,
painkillers. You can do that, but just be smart about
don't rely on them. Look, I'm sure a lot of dancers have been there, done that. Like when I was at the Royal Ballet School and I was going through growing pains.
it. Mm.
Again, we're going off topic, but I'll just share.
Yeah.
I was going through growing pains, so I had a lot of bursitis in my metatarsals because
Mm.
my feet were growing so much. Just loads of pain. Shins were hurting. I was like 13,
Mm.
so I was taking like painkillers, near like ibuprofen, like every
Mm.
day. I would like literally 3 times a day, every day for
Mm.
months. And
Mm.
obviously ibuprofen and all these painkillers, they stop working after you've taken them for
Yeah.
so long, but you think, well, I can't possibly not take them.
Mm.
But for me, I didn't enjoy doing that at all.
Mm.
And after that period, and after Russia and everything, and the
Mm.
back and things like that, I actually stopped taking painkillers completely.
Mm.
Like I rarely take painkillers. I think I stopped taking painkillers like over 6 years ago.
Mm. Yeah.
Like I just, after doing that so much, it's not healthy. But again, you just feel like you have to. You feel like
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
survive. It's literally like a battle of survival.
Yeah.
But it's not a good thing. And I think if you're at that point, everyone, like,
Mm.
please learn from like mine and Suvi's mistakes here.
Yes.
And
Please
also
do.
because it's because it's also quite scary to even share this, because I don't really want anyone listening and thinking this is like that's something you should ever do,
No,
because
absolutely
you
not.
should never do that.
No, no. There's
You know,
nothing like glamorous about it. There's nothing like, oh, how devoted can a person be that she took painkillers for 6 months? No, that's just dumb. That's just
no, it's
really,
just
really
really
dumb.
stupid.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
nothing to learn from this other than that. Don't do it.
Other
I
than that,
cannot
if
stress
I'm
this
taking
enough.
painkillers, yeah, like if I'm taking painkillers this much, this often, I shouldn't be dancing right
Yes,
now.
yes.
Like, simple.
Simple.
And you should be able to speak to your teacher. You should be able to tell
Yeah.
them that
Also,
without
there's
feeling the
nothing
fear
like
to not speak to them.
no one's gonna come to you and be like, "Oh, wow, you're how brave, you're taking painkillers and you're still dancing with all this pain. Wow, look at you." No one cares. Like it's
No,
just
no one cares.
no, they're just thinking about themselves probably, and then at some point or other you're just gonna go off anyway, and then all
Exactly.
your
So just look
problems are
after
gonna
yourself
be
now.
worse. So just
Yeah.
yeah,
Save yourself
yes.
the trauma and and poor Suvi, I had no idea you had stomach surgery.
I've had two, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, look after yourself, everyone.
Yes. But I got cute stars on my stomach now, so scars.
Oh my God. I was like,
What? You have
yeah.
stars?
I was like, wow, I didn't know they could custom put stars on your stomach.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's intense. That's
Yes.
for sure intense. So so let's sum up the injury section. Look after yourself. Don't rush any kind of going back. It's not worth it. If you need, like, seek support. So
Yeah.
outside of your environment, like the school, the company, seek like support from your family, from your friends, like people who are there for you, because it may feel like the people in your actual learning environment or working environment are not there for you
Mm.
because of what you're going through. Hopefully not. Like hopefully
Yeah.
the things, I know probably things are better in some places than others, like for
Yeah.
sure, but it can often be the case. So keep a support system
Yes. And
and
also
and
one
don't
important.
rush the process of this.
Yes. Sorry, I just spoke over you. But I was just going to say that it often feels like this is the last thing I'll say about this. Um,
Okay.
um, it often feels like a spring performance or a competition is like the most important thing, and you have to be back for that. But in the
Mm,
grand scheme of things, it like if you have a long career, you're not going to remember that you didn't do a spring performance when you were 16. So
no,
yeah,
like 100% no. Like in the grand scheme of things, just remember this isn't worth it
no, it's
long term. No, like a few extra months of rehabbing is worth its weight in gold if it means you can have an entire career.
yes,
And one person's opinion, one teacher or one director's opinion is not gospel. This world is
mm,
big. Like there's other people out there who'd appreciate you if they don't.
well said.
Right. Thank you so much. So, so let's move on to coming back from a break from like let's say a life break. Let's say a life break. So, I mean, I'm also just there myself a little bit, I guess.
Mm,
Like, but tell us, Suvi, because I think I was thinking when we were discussing what we were going to talk about a lot of adults out there who
mm,
have either done ballet when they were younger, maybe not even to a serious level, but some of them definitely to a serious level. And for whatever reason, they don't quite become professional or they stop
mm,
dancing. And then life happens, they get a new
mhm,
job, they're very good at their job. And then they realize later on, okay, my kids have left now, they're at uni,
mm,
have more time to myself, or, I've got enough income now that I'm stable enough to actually do extra things that I enjoy. And so ballet comes back into their life. And for you, obviously, you stopped dancing. Well, we want to hear your reasons why exactly. And now you're returning. And what was it? What was it that, I mean, I can guess, but tell us in your own words what it was that sort of triggered you to go, you know what, I'm actually going to take the plunge and get back into class, because it's a big deal. It's a big deal going back.
it is.
And just how you feel about yourself, and how did you feel when you first started? Tell us.
Well, so I stopped dancing 2019, spring of 2019, and I was quite sure that I wasn't going to dance again. Really had a strong feeling like I'm very content with this that I had, and I'm gonna move on to something next.
Mm.
So I didn't feel bitter about it. I didn't feel very sad about it. I was really like, okay, that was that life. Now I'm moving on to something else. Um, and I felt very happy to not have um, that life anymore. Every morning when I woke up, I was like, oh, I don't have to go to the bar. I can do this. I can do that. So I was really like, oh God, I'm not dancing anymore. Um, and then last summer, I started having slowly like I started having dreams about dancing, and in the dreams, I was performing or I was training, and there was a very like vivid feeling of, like the feeling of when you're turning and the feeling of when you're jumping or moving through space, which is a great feeling. And I woke up from those dreams a bit like, huh? Like that's confusing. Like I often in those dreams I I talked to my mom and I said, "Oh mom, I can't believe I thought that I could ever live without this. Like can you believe there was a time I thought I wouldn't dance?" And I was really confused, and then in August I was like, maybe I should go try to take a ballet class. So I went, and it was horrible. I was like, yeah, no, no, I was right. This is not for me anymore. Felt
Why was it
horrible
horrible?
uh, because it just felt like, you haven't danced in 3 years, you can't lift your legs, you can't turn out, and everything feels painful and uncomfortable. And I was like, ah, shit, screw this. Um, but the pains persisted. And then I was involved in a ballet production here in Helsinki. I was just kind of I was a drama doing the dramaturgy of the ballet, so I wasn't dancing. But then the
Mm.
director was like, "Oh, somebody got injured, and they want more people in this group scene. Could you just do? Could you like be in this group scene?" And I was like, "I don't know how to dance anymore." This was like a contemporary dance scene, and he was like, "It's fine. You can just be in the back and no one will see you." And I was like, "Okay, I guess I can do it." So I went to the rehearsals, and this ballet company is a lot smaller, and like there's a very family kind of feeling in it. There was 12 of us involved in this piece, and I was like, this is kind of fun. Like I'm having fun in the studio. I'm having fun laughing with these people, and moving my body. And the performances came. I don't know why I said that like that. That's really embarrassing.
I loved it. Moving my body.
Oh, it's like sometimes when I accidentally say like "let's party," and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I started slowly, kind of stretching a bit more and doing some Pilates, and then I tried going in the bar again. Well, not in the bar. I mean, I in the
Mm.
studio. I didn't go drink in a bar. Um, and I was like, okay, it's feeling a bit better. Like now I can kind of get back to this. I remember what this feels like. My body remembers, and it felt like I recognized my body for the first time in years properly. I was like, oh, this is you. Oh, uh, and then I just kind of kept going. And a couple of weeks ago, I performed um, um, like a version of Swan Lake. And I was dancing a duet in it, and a couple group scenes.
Who was that with?
That was with Ballet Finland, this small company, and I was dancing with Atte
Oh,
Kilpinen. The duet was on point and everything, which is crazy. But it was so weird approaching dancing with this new life experience and with all this that I have now, because now it wasn't an obsession anymore. It wasn't something that I was like stressing about. It was more just like I have other things in my life. I have other priorities, and now it's just something I enjoy, and I take it seriously, yes, and I train seriously, yes, but with a lot of kindness towards my body. And there were times when I
and
was like, I don't,
perspective.
yeah, I don't feel like going to class today, so I didn't go. So
Yeah.
I wasn't really pushing, past any kind of limit like I used
Yeah.
to. And it's not very surprising, but it was a lot more enjoyable. It was fun.
Yeah, you're laughing. It's so hilarious.
Yeah,
It was fun.
it was fun. Can you imagine?
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
Um,
When you're not beating
but
yourself up, it's
did
fun.
you, yeah, but see, it's really both amazing. It's amazing for me to hear this. Suvi's never told me this before. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing to hear this, but it's also, I also, I resonate with you, but I'm also quite sad hearing it because it's almost like, do you ever feel like, oh, if only when I was actually dancing professionally, I could have this kind of thought process, this kind of rationale, this perspective.
Yeah, I've thought about that so much. I was like, imagine if I was this healthy in my mind when I was dancing in F&B. What a different experience. So yeah, but I don't feel sad
Yeah.
about it. I just think it's
No, it's just
interesting.
like, oh, if,
Yeah, because I also
mm,
I don't think it's my fault only that I was not well when I was dancing there. So I'm not saying like I don't want to beat myself up for that. It's what
no,
was
not
in
at
the
all.
past. So I'm not really focusing it in that way. But I do think it's interesting how what a different experience it would have been, because we're still struggling to recognize the importance of like mental health and just being kind of right in your mind
Mm,
in that sense, not just
mm.
physically. in your
Yeah,
body.
but I don't think
Yeah,
there's a version of yourself. I don't think there's a version of yourself that would be actually in the company with this kind of thought, because I think the only
yeah,
reason you're like this now is
because I left.
literally because of the because you left, and because of the life experience you had,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
because of the opportunities, and because of the, you know,
yeah,
the removal of yourself from it, and then the new perspective that you've gone
yeah,
back in with.
yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think for anyone who's danced when they were young and now they're maybe thinking of going to ballet class again and it feels daunting, um,
Mm.
I think there's so much you can get from ballet class when you approach it with more of a kind perspective rather than,
Mm.
oh, I'm gonna hate how I look and I'm not gonna be able to do what I used to. There's I really try to focus on just what movement feels like for and not what it looks like in the mirror. I rarely did bar so that I could see the mirror. I did it maybe twice. I did
Yeah.
bar on in a spot where I couldn't even see the mirror. So that was a big thing. And what was I gonna say? Oh, with of course there were many moments when I realized I can't do what I used to be able to do. But
And how did you cope with that mentally?
that is a good question. I think overall, again, it just comes down to being aware of how you're talking to yourself and how you let
Mm.
things like, yeah, I could have been like, oh shit, Suvi, your arabesque is so much more, it's so low now, and you can't do four pirouettes anymore, and look at your jump, it's horrible, oh, you're horrible. Sure, I could have talked to myself like that, but during those moments when I'm like, oh, my arabesque is very low, oh, this feels horrible, I was like, I'm just gonna think that I'll do some stretching tonight. So I'll work towards it, and I shift my focus to something else. I actively
Mm.
shift my focus away from negativity. Yeah,
That is so good.
yeah,
That is literally what you should do,
yeah.
because
Because
it's literally,
it's honestly it's a choice. It is a choice.
yeah.
What you focus on. That's purely your choice. So if
Mm.
you want to choose on to focus on what you can't do anymore and how horrible you look and how horrible this feels, that's your choice then. But there are other ways
Mm.
as well.
No, 100%. And
Yeah.
then, like, again, having that perspective of, okay, yeah, it's low. It's lower than it was. I've listened to the negative thoughts that want to creep in, like I can
Mm.
feel them coming in, not going to let them come in,
Mm.
because my choice is to accept the situation now and
Mm.
do things to act towards improving it. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be 16-year-old Suvi.
Yeah. And
I'm just trying to enjoy ballet.
I'm also thinking like there are wars going on. There are horrible crises. My arabesque is low. Boo hoo. Whatever. Oh, perspective.
No, no, like, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like kind of like when people are really anxious and we talk about it. It's like, are you literally going to die?
Yeah.
Like, are you in physical danger,
No.
or are you just worried about sending an email?
Yeah. True. True.
Like, you can do it,
Yeah.
you know. And so obviously, like, yeah, my arabesque is low. I'm annoyed it's low. I'm
Yeah.
going to work on it. That's it.
Yeah.
This is not the end of the world.
Yeah.
No one's here judging me right now.
Exactly.
um you know, but what's your, because obviously, you know, when you start doing it, and I see a lot of adults, they're like massively enjoying it, and they're having,
Mm.
like, I love teaching adults because they're literally doing it for the enjoyment of it, but they're so
Yeah.
serious about it. Like, they want to improve, they want to get so good at it, they want to feel like they really understand it, and like, it's amazing. But there isn't that sort of like it's fun, because
Mm-hmm.
there isn't that pressure of, oh, I have to get a job, I have to,
Yeah.
this has to lead somewhere.
Yeah. I have to be better.
So with you,
Yeah.
it's different. Like, you have experienced like a professional career, and your ballet leading to something. So now that you've restarted it, do you have, and you've also performed, like, do you have any goals with ballet? Like, do you actually intend on returning?
No, not no. My goal is, I would
No.
say, no,
No. No.
no. My goal would be to just kind of keep up this kind of like shape, meaning not what my weight is or anything, but just kind of what I'm able to do. So I'm able to get through a class now. I want to just kind
Yeah.
of keep that up so that I don't have to, because it was a lot of work, obviously, to be able to perform um, a classical duet on point again. So I want to keep it at the same level, or keep this up. Of course, improve if I can, but I'm not making it like.
But this is just for you, though. This is
Just
just
for
like for
you,
your
and
own
then
personal
yeah, and then if
feelings.
there, I would like to be able to do some dance projects here and there. If something interesting comes up, I would like to take part in some kind of performances with Ballet Finland again, if there's the chance. Do something that feels meaningful and fun and interesting to me. I want to be able to choose what I do. So yeah, and just being ready for that in a way that if something interesting, an opportunity arrives, then I can be like, yes, I will do this, instead of being like, no, I can't do this because it would take me 3 months to get in shape again. So that's my goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I have other
This is
things.
amazing.
Yeah, I have a lot of other things in life at the moment that I'm kind of prioritizing, I guess. My writing and my acting and all of that. So this is just something extra to enjoy.
Yes. So you're a real creative, Suvi.
I suppose so.
No, you are. You are. And I hope everyone's been reading the articles that Suvi writes for us, because like the way she writes is so fluent and so
Thank you. Really.
articulate. Like I do read them. Of course I read them.
Thank you.
I
That's
read them
fun.
every time. Yeah, of course. They're going on the website. Of course I read it.
Yeah, I'm on your website. It's fine. Without reading it.
No. I do read it. I think you're amazing.
Thank you. Izzy, we've
Very
been
lucky to
talking
have you.
for a
And
long time, and I'm looking at the clock, and I'm a bit
yeah,
worried.
I know. We'll finish now. We'll finish. She's had enough of me, everyone.
No, I haven't, but you know, I have.
Your butt's numb. Is that what you said?
Huh? What?
Oh, I thought you said your butt's numb
My butt? No,
because you've been sat down so long.
no, I didn't say that.
Oh right,
I also say
she
butt
has to go. She
something.
has a busy day. She has a busy day of ballet, acting and writing. So guys, thank you so much. Obviously, we went on a tangent a little bit with the injury side of things, coming
Oh my
back
god,
from injury. I think that's actually a
it's
separate
good
episode
talking.
in itself, to be honest. Yeah, but yeah, just coming back after a break is always difficult, especially coming back from injury. Let us know if you want to if you want us to talk about this more, because that can be its own thing. And yeah, if when you're coming back from a break, literally a life break, is just, I actually think, a really beautiful process, because it's like you're different, you're rediscovering it, and hearing your story, Suvi, just now was just so nice for me to hear, because obviously we know how much difficulty you've had throughout your career,
Mm,
along with some good things obviously, but a lot
yeah,
of difficulty and
yeah,
psychological um defeatist
yes,
emotions, so it's really nice to hear that you're experiencing a now newly found positive
yeah.
approach to ballet and
It
doing
feels.
so well with it,
Yeah.
obviously. So I'm very proud of you. I'm
Thank
very
you.
proud of you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes,
Well
I'm gonna
guys,
say a final thought. If you're coming back from a bit break,
okay,
be kind to yourself. Just be kind to
be
yourself.
kind. Exactly.
Yes.
Be kind
Be
is the
kind.
name of the game, and be patient with yourself as well.
Yes.
So, on that note, we will dance it out in tribute to being kind to yourself and taking it one step, literally, at a time. Thank you, guys.